I just want to start off by saying thank you, God. Uh, it's hard for me to say that, especially when everything's turning into something else in my brain. But to hear Perps having to stay in this bubble where they have no shame. The validation that my brain is being rewired and altered speaks for itself. It's just too clearly validation aspect of things that your brain, as a target individual, becomes this thing utilized to develop a weapon system. They study and analyze how they can manipulate your brain and manipulate your brain in a degrading way. Then they have these losers and clowns. No shame. I mean, somebody in the hallway, as they were making me have this imagination that was just obviously manipulated. He comes in the hallway, he's like, woo! He makes this like loud noise and try to box it in. And it's like, oh, you're gonna be a screaming pedophile. And I was like, really? And I'm like, this man, he has to have this level of lack of self-respect because he knows I'm gonna destroy the stupidness that he has to play with. Listen, they contract these losers. Target individual, what you see around you, as bad as what's happening to you is happening to you right now, they are utilizing perps that come in all shape or form. These perps are supposed to paint this bubble, they create this bubble, this fantasized reality. With me, I have zero respect for them. When I mean zero, zero, like they're the trash of the trash. To me, I think they're the low life. They make me say thankful, to be thankful. This is why I say thank you, God, I didn't have to live this life. But they have to stay with this persona. They have to stick with the beat. That's why this man can be like, woo! Making that noise. Knowing damn well what's going to happen. Because I'm going to be woo too. Because the reality of what they're part of is being validated. Not only they manipulate the brain, this is what this whole program is about. If you're a target individual dealing with V2K, you know you no longer think like yourself. You no longer are yourself. Your thought process are being manipulated. You are no longer experiencing a natural, authentic reactions or thought process or memories or perceptions. Everything is manipulated, and it's crazy how sophisticated this weapon system is. The people around you might not be the most sophisticated people. They might not be the geniuses. They could just be like childlike people or clowns or theatrical clowns. But please understand, the weapon system itself, by these governmental entities developing this weapon system, this is no joke. It will manipulate and rewire your brain in ways that you can understand. And it's degrading. With time, it only gets worse. With time, they have analyzed and able to completely rewire you in so many ways, and to try to create some kind of ways of making you think in certain ways to in this disturbing pedophilia way, but try to apply how they can try to make it look like it's you. So they'll take things here and then change into this fashion. So they're just studying your brain to manipulate your brain in the most degrading ways, but still making you think it's you. Right? That is what it's truly about. And with time, it gets worse. Then the clowns are being clowns. They're theatrical. They do their job. They're just trash. I love to embarrass. They send this shit. They're like, nah, it's so you. You're so natural. It's your nature. With no ounce of shame. Right? And immediately when you put that in their faces, they bring out even more validations. Like, oh, you're going to serve. What they mean is they're going to frame you. And what they're going to frame you is right on point with what they do to you. The people in your brain studying you, because that's what they love to say. We're studying you. Oh, well, you're studying how to manipulate my brain. I'm going to frame you by using their children. That's the kind of studying analysts they are. That's the kind of study they do, where they're even going to frame you using children. So it's clear what they're about. It's just a theatrical way of playing with you. And then when they do that, they're like, no, we just dare to do that too. On top of studying your brain, we dare to do this. So this clown comes and makes this noise campaign and make this theatrical. It's like, woo, you're going to be a screaming pedo. I'm like, oh, really? I'll be screaming, that's for sure. But a pedo? We know who's the pedos. Matter of fact, the reason why I'm going to be screaming is because this terrible things are going to happen to me because these entities with a lot of pedos are causing that. And they contracted losers like you who now work for pedos or work for governmental entities with a lot of pedo issues, who's trying to convince me that my brain being manipulated the way it is being manipulated, it's me, while you are working for entities where there's so much pedo going on there that their bill was created. A bill was created because they're doing so much pedo things, which are the people contracting your low life to try to make this noise campaign or doing this noise campaign. For example, right now, somebody, they're so childlike. I love when they do this. They're making noise campaign when they're whipping. I'm like, they're going to be whipped. It's like the theatric torture is going to be theatrical. Just like your dumbass is out here whipping when you're going to hear the obviousness of who's pedos. It's magical. But you got to stay in character. And I love the fact that they don't like to be seen. Because in front of them, I'm listening to who's their pedos. They hate it. Oh, they get quiet. So I started listening to the issue of pedophilia. I opened the door. I made the same noise he was making. I was like, woo! Why is there so many pedophiles? Woo! Top tier chop on traffickers. Woo! They start making noise campaigns, slamming the doors and being like, I'm like, do you see reality? That's what they do. The reality what they're part of is just magically obvious. It's obvious. And they're gonna try everything to gaslight you to blocking that out. I'm not only I'm not gonna block it out, I'm gonna make it too obvious. I'm gonna blast in your face. So when we see each other, I'm like, who's the pedo? Me? Okay. And you protect kids, right? Okay. Yeah. Top tier, actually, you're right. These entities are top tier child protectors. That's why you're making all this noise campaign. You're not deflecting, you're not countering, you're not trying to gaslight me. No. What you're doing to my brain, you're just analyzing my brain. You're studying my brain. No, you're studying my brain in regard to knowing how to manipulate my brain. This, what they're saying here, what's being said here in this specific article from CNN, it just shows how protective of children these people are.
Of Defense's network and Pentagon-issued computers may be used to view, create, or circulate such horrifying images as a shameful disgrace, and one we must fight head-on, Spanberger said in a statement. According to child pornography watchdog Internet Crimes Against Children Child Online Protective Services, the Defense Department network consistently ranks in the top tier
protectors of children.
Internet service providers for trafficking child pornography.
Oh, I'm sorry. What? Child pornography? I thought it was protectors of children. Let me hear that back.
According to child pornography watchdog Internet Crimes Against Children Child Online Protective Services, the Defense Department network consistently ranks in the top tier of Internet service providers for trafficking child pornography. It ranks.
Woo! These people are clowns. This is the protectors of children we're talking about here. What they do to the brain is they rewire the brain and alter the brain in disturbing ways. And the reason why it's happening is because this is a weapon system. We're just these tools used to refine a weapon system. We're a human guinea pig. And what they're studying is how to break you down and increase the matrices of tactics of how to break you down using psychological warfare, cognitive manipulations. And of course, they're doing things to my body, which is part of this psychological torment too. Because when you're fragilized physically, it's easier for you to break down psychologically. So they combine these tactics and refine this weapon system, slowly killing you while degrading your brain. And having these clowns who have no shame working for top tier child porn traffickers and making this noise campaign. I will never let this low life live their fantasy. For me, if that's my purpose, I will honorably do this purpose as they make their noise campaign and try to be clowns and slam the door out of frustration. Like, what do you think? Like, when they do this, like, aggressive slamming on the door, I'm like, wait. For me, it's easy to put reality in their faces. I just gotta understand that, unfortunately, my brain is gonna be manipulated. But there's things like that.
And once you can do that, you can control them using neural-linguistic programming techniques. You're rewiring their thought processes and brains.
So, when you say they, it's us target individual. They are rewiring. These people are rewiring us target individual. Our thought process in our brain. For example, not too long ago, this happened. I was going through some dating app, and there's always like I always gotta be careful because this most likely a child somewhere there, and then this is the reason when they match with me. This little girl there, this baby over there, and it's funny they do the same things to other target individual. But you see that little kid over there, this little black girl, they were making me imagine discussing sexual things with this kid and try to apply the way they can manipulate my brain and take things from her. I can imagine things about this woman, put it in a child, it just combine in order for me to have this thought process that's sexual toward children. They do that systematically. They do that often. This is not unique to me. This is here. They literally use pedophilia type of tormenting to break you down, and it's nothing. It's funny how they try to use different tonalities and try to say things like how we dare. It's literally systematic. They have this systematic tactics of forcing you to have sexual thoughts of children. And for now, right now, to counter that, they tell me I'm going to bleed out because they are doing things to my body to obviously break it down. So they deflect. And for me, the interaction I'm having is interaction utilizing V2K. But this is what they do.
This is a common breakdown tactic of belief systems into human will. In no-touch torture, the techniques are more psychologically specialized for each target. Most common examples include homosexual targets that are forced with voices that are derogatory to their lifestyle and similar mental images. Almost all targets are forced to view child pornography in their minds.
So with me, they create this imagination when I see babies, to create some sexual imagination with these babies, these children, this little girl. At one point, they were making me think when I was like in third grade, and I remember when I was like 8, 9 years old, and I think I saw like this kid was like maybe 7 years old or something like that. And I remember feeling a little something as a child. And like, now I see we mapped it to that. This is the people with child porn issues saying these things to you, to try to force me to accept these things, to force me to have this reaction to these kids. Or they talk about, no, but remember what you did as a kid. It's like, I'm a grown man, and you guys are top tier child porn trafficker for a reason. Doing the pedophilia type of torture, it's easily visible that these people have an agenda to break you down utilizing pedophilia. It's not unique to me, like I said. And you have these clowns that can be like, woo, working for top tier child porn traffickers and try to be like, no, it's you because we are studying your brain. You know, you're studying my brain to manipulate my brain in these pedophilia ways. Nothing is unique. They do these things to others, and people have called it out for what it is, for the pedophilia type of torture that they do.
experience what is referred to as malodorance. This is the alteration of the smell sensation so that I am often made to smell various things, including smoke, burning, dirty diaper, or baby powder, which they sometimes combine with the pedophilia type of torture, including...
And you have perps that come in all shape and form, right? I mean, there's some the most childish like this. These people are supposed to convince you that your brain is not being manipulated. Now it's so you. Yeah, people clowns like this completely. No shame. I'm like, do you even see yourself? Like, would you believe yourself if you see somebody like you saying that to you? I don't think they have an idea of how to even present themselves sometimes. Try to make you accepting of this manipulation. In every way, it's been countered. And then when they talk about what you did as a kid, because for me, if you go into all my videos, I'll bring that up. When they forced me to have this perception toward this baby, imagination, so well, some of the things at this point, for this kid, they tried to make me think when I was in 3rd grade. But sometimes they're like, no, but when you were like in middle school, you did this thing, so that's what your brain was. When I was a child, this inappropriate act of a kid, that was just an impulsive act, right? But you gotta understand, these people do pedophilia type of torture. We utilize everything and try to gaslight you to accept this manipulation, because they're like, when you're 13, 14 years old, you did this thing as a kid. That's abuse, when the truth is they try to exaggerate what I did as a kid. Well, they do these things to kids. You know, this woman who talks about the pedophilia type of torture? Oh, it happens that she's a teacher, teaching very young children. And guess what they do to children? They torture them.
My client's mark on her arm. One day I also observed her gasping for air a few times in the same way that I do when I am being more severely suffocated. The suffocation had been in a mild state for a while up until this point. Many of their torture methods are cyclical in severity. Right after I saw this child being suffocated, then I began to experience very extreme suffocation all day, every day, for about 2 months straight, and that's also when they made it worse when I eat. And I also work with a 4-year-old little girl with Down syndrome, as well as her 5-year-old sister, who also has Down syndrome. I observed both of these girls suddenly grabbing their genitals in pain and verbalizing.
Sexual torture is very commonly happening to target individuals, men, women, and even children. So you hear what they do to children, this type of abuse, torture, atrocities applied onto kids. This is the same woman who's talking about the pedophilia type of torture. So not only they manipulate your brain in these disturbing ways, but they have no problem. They have no problem harming children in sexual matters. And this is the thing.
Somebody trying to end my life. It's somebody trying to end who I am as a person. It's somebody trying to take over my mind, putting thoughts of pedophilia. Like, this disgusting.
Like the level of validation that we have, that they have these tactics, are surreal. I don't know this person. She's a target individual who say how they the way they manipulate my brain in this pedophilia. Like, who can, the level of validation. And then to find out the entities that clearly do these things. These entities here.
In 1965, DARPA launched Project Pandora, which studied the possibility of using microwave radiation to control human behavior. The project reportedly ended in 1969, but DARPA's investigation of how machines can affect and possibly control the brain continues to this day.
Those entities, you heard DARPA, been working on technology to alter the mind for decades and decades ago. Oh, the same entities where this kind of issue that you just heard earlier is happening. Where this is happening there.
His secrets, potentially making this. The Defense Department releasing brand new details into an investigation involving child pornography and dozens of its workers and contractors, some with top-level security clearance. Not only are these very serious accusations, but investigators say some of the people involved were handling the nation's most sensitive secrets, potentially making this a matter of national security. Chief Fox Report correspondent Jonathan Hunt with the news. Appalling story, Jonathan. Do we know more about these people and their security clearances?
Well, we don't know their exact job titles, John, but what we do know is that they did appear to have been working, some of them at high levels, across a range of government agencies. Take a look at this, for instance, the National Security Agency, the National Reconnaissance Office, and
the very secretive agency that you're going to hear is DARPA, Defense Advanced Research Project Agency.
Secretive Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency.
Those are the entities running this program. With issue with child porn, they call it project manager there with child porn on the computer given to them by the Department of Defense. So when you hear this clown say, "Woo!" I'm like, "Cool, you're a clown. You just play with the brain in these disgusting ways." Then you have this clown working for top tier child porn traffickers, try to gaslight you. Then they try to talk about, "No, but remember what you did as a kid, and now you pay, and this and that was abuse." I'm like, "You torture babies, you fucking low life." And today as an adult, you make me think of children these ways. Just like you did that to this woman. To this trans woman. To a lot of target individuals. Then they hire losers like you to try to gaslight somebody as you manipulate the brain in these disturbing ways. That is my job, to not let these bottom feeders who have no shame to be clowns. Now whatever horror I'm going to go through, God give me strength. But thank you, God, I was able to see things for what they are. Tell me, what level of validation can one have that these people have this tendency of altering the brain these ways? This is magical. A retard, excuse my language. Anybody can clearly see a pattern here with what they do. And what they're studying. And how they're analyzing your brain, and for what purpose. Is to control and manipulate your brain in disturbing ways. Which they've done in the same ways to others. There's a lot of trickery with the psyops and facade. Let's not forget, this is the Department of Defense. This is intelligence community involvement. So creation of false reality is needed. That's what they gaslight you. Are they that stupid that they can't see that it's so obvious that they do the pedophilia type of torture? No. They think that if they continuously, systematically counter reality, you're going to go into that counter reality. They even call themselves darers. You heard what they do to children, right? That's the kind of daring we're talking about. You know the daring they do? They use technology called V2K, right? Voice to skull is when you can project voices in somebody's brain. So as they do these things to you, you can hear them talk to you using their tonality and saying things like, "We dared." So they're saying basically that they dare to do what they do, but they do it in this remotely way that you don't see them. But they're so daring. Obviously, they know what they just try to agitate you. It's very cowardly what they do. They know that. It's like the worst of the worst done at the most facilitated way possible.
Highly perverted, involving many combinations. I also experienced what is referred to as malo.
They do this kind of things. This woman was talking about her torture, but
Anything electronic. I also often see highly form of torture. They coordinate the voices and thought. It's what is referred to as.
I try to.
V2K, or voice to.
So V2K is this technology where they can project their voices into you. Like you can hear them directly in your brain. That's when the fierceness comes out. So a lot of these perps are very childlike people, like far from fierceness. Pure cowardice in magical ways. Now, they don't need to be hiring brave people. For what? This technology facilitates evil. You can do the horror of the horror in your pajamas. So there's these perps who try to present and sound like they're fierce human beings, but they talk to you via this remote technology that interact with your brain remotely. That's why you hear them being the fierce being that they are remotely.
This involves the projection of voices, noises, and music directly into my mind to communicate with me in real time and at the speed of thought. And it also includes the manipulation of thoughts, emotions, and perceptions in the person's mind.
So they project their voices using this fierce voice, and they try to use different tonality to agitate you, try to make you feel to be scared, menacing voices, all kind. Most of them are just clown trash. They will see you and start shaking. But remotely, the fierceness is unbelievable. Like you think that you're interacting to the fiercest of the fiercest. See them in person, men or women, you see the embarrassment in their faces. Me just opening a door and say, "Whoa!" every time you hear the issue with child porn and pedophilia, which is so nasty. As they rewire and manipulate the brain in this fashion, calling you a pedo, like really? So you guys are top tier protectors of children, using these daring, brave people, right? Trash. They've empowered a lot of losers, but don't get lost of who you see or who's interacting with you. They're just the implementers. And I think for themselves to kind of create this fantasized reality, it's going to be a lot of horror happening to me. Let's just say that I understand this weapon system can do so much harmful things to you. It's the weapon system of the 21st century, so I understand the capability, or I understand how far these things can go. We're talking about things like that.
It got turned over to DARPA, and most recently, so that you can send in a radio signal that will couple with the liver, the kidneys, the lungs, and cause them to malfunction so that you can degrade the performance of your adversary. The new weapon systems being developed today will attack the mind, the body, and our physiology on an energetic level. Not with bullets and bombs. It's a perfect Republican weapon. No offense to Republicans here, but you don't want to destroy the property. You have to rebuild it afterwards. This is a weapon systems of the 21st century. It's the very beginning of it in a lot of ways, but the research goes back over 50 years. The first things that we published, Angels Don't Play This.
That's what they're using on me. Why on me? Because I'm just a guinea pig and a test subject for that. Just like many other target individual. So this fierceness comes from somebody who's remotely doing that to me, using this weapon system. In most likely the most comfortable housewear they can wear. Those are the darers. They're low life. See them for the pedos and the low life and the bottom fears that they are. But don't underestimate what this technology is really about. Don't get lost in what you're seeing or who you're seeing doing that. They're just the clowns. You're just a test subject being used to develop the 21st century weapon system that can attack the body and the mind in such a sophisticated way. Just be strong, understand the capabilities of this weapon system, understand the capability of how these perps around you can be dumbed down for the purpose of gaslighting you. I understand that they'll get theirs, maybe not today. So to all my target individuals, stay strong.